Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk Sara English. I'm Sarah, and I'm so happy you decided to spend a little time with us today.
And I'm Mike. It's always wonderful to have you here. Maybe you're listening while drinking coffee, walking outside, driving home, or simply relaxing after a busy day.
Wherever you are, we hope this conversation helps you feel calm, comfortable, and a little more confident in your English.
Today, we're talking about something that almost every English learner experiences at some point.
Yes, today we're talking about how to speak English without fear.
This is not only about vocabulary or grammar, it is also about confidence, emotions, and the way we think when we speak.
Many learners know more English than they realize, but fear stops the words from coming out.
Maybe you understand podcasts and videos quite well, but when someone asks you a simple question in English, your mind suddenly becomes quiet.
Or maybe your heart starts beating faster, and you worry that everyone will notice your mistakes.
If that sounds familiar, please remember that you are not alone.
Fear is something many learners experience, even people who eventually become fluent.
That is why today we want to have a relaxed conversation instead of giving you a formal lesson.
We want you to hear natural English, learn useful expressions, and hopefully feel a little less afraid by the end of this episode.
Before we continue, we want to ask you one simple question.
Think about it quietly while you listen.
What makes you feel nervous when you speak English?
Maybe you are afraid of making grammar mistakes.
Maybe you cannot remember the right vocabulary at the right moment.
Maybe you worry about your pronunciation.
Or maybe you are simply afraid that someone will laugh at you.
Whatever your answer is, your feelings are completely normal.
Learning a language means doing something new, and new things often feel uncomfortable at first.
Mike, can I ask you something?
Of course, go ahead.
Have you ever felt nervous before speaking in front of other people?
Yes, many times.
Really? I think many of our listeners imagine that confident speakers are never afraid.
I used to think that too, but confidence does not mean you never feel nervous.
Then what does it mean?
I think confidence means you continue even when you feel nervous.
I like that definition very much.
Years ago, I had to give a short presentation in English.
Were you excited?
Honestly, I was terrified. My hands were shaking, and I felt like I had forgotten every English word I had ever learned.
I think many of our listeners know that feeling.
I looked at the audience and thought everyone would notice every mistake.
Did that happen?
Not at all. I made a few small mistakes, but something interesting happened.
What happened?
Most people were listening to my ideas, not searching for my mistakes.
That is such an important lesson.
Yes, we often imagine that people are judging us much more than they really are.
Our own mind can sometimes become our biggest critic.
Exactly.
I remember having a similar experience.
Tell us about it.
I met someone from another country while traveling.
So you had to speak English naturally?
Yes, and I felt nervous before saying my first sentence.
What were you thinking?
I kept asking myself, what if my English sounds strange? What if I say the wrong word?
Those questions can make speaking much more difficult.
They really can.
So what happened?
I decided to smile and simply start talking.
Was your English perfect?
Not at all. I forgot some words, I paused several times, and I even corrected myself during the conversation.
And how did the other person react?
They smiled, waited patiently, and continued the conversation as if nothing unusual had happened.
That shows something important.
Yes, most people want communication, not perfection.
Communication is the real goal.
Sometimes learners think they must speak like native speakers before they're allowed to have conversations.
But that idea only creates more fear.
Exactly.
Let's explain something very clearly.
Good idea.
Fear itself is not your enemy.
That might surprise some listeners.
Fear is simply your brain trying to protect you from something that feels uncertain.
Your brain says, be careful, something might go wrong.
The problem is that your brain cannot always tell the difference between real danger and imagined danger.
Speaking English is usually not dangerous.
But your brain may still react as if it is.
That is why your heart beats faster.
That is why your voice becomes quieter.
That is why simple words suddenly disappear from your memory.
It happens to many people.
Knowing this can actually make you feel calmer.
Because you realize that nothing is wrong with you.
Your brain is simply reacting in a very human way.
Now, let's talk about one common misunderstanding.
Many learners believe they need more confidence before they start speaking.
But confidence usually comes after speaking, not before speaking.
That is a very important difference.
Think about riding a bicycle.
Nobody becomes confident before getting on the bicycle.
You become confident because you practice many times.
Speaking English works in a similar way.
Every small conversation teaches your brain that speaking is safe.
And little by little, the fear becomes smaller.
It may not disappear immediately.
But it becomes easier to manage.
Sarah, do you know something interesting?
What is it?
Some of the most confident English speakers still make grammar mistakes.
That is absolutely true.
They simply do not stop talking every time they make one small error.
Instead, they continue communicating.
Communication is always more important than perfection.
So if you forget one word, keep going.
If your pronunciation is not perfect, keep going.
If you need a moment to think, take a breath and keep going.
Every sentence you speak is another step forward.
And every conversation teaches you something new.
The important thing is not speaking without mistakes. The important thing is speaking without letting fear control your voice.
One thing that surprises many English learners is that fear often becomes smaller after they begin speaking, not before.
Yes, the hardest moment is usually the first sentence. Once the conversation starts, your mind slowly relaxes.
That first sentence can feel like opening a heavy door.
But after the door is open, walking through it becomes much easier.
So today, let's talk about practical ways to make that first step feel less difficult.
These ideas are simple, but they can make a real difference if you practice them regularly.
The first idea is something many people forget. You do not need long conversations every day.
A short conversation can be just as valuable, especially when you are building confidence.
Even speaking English for 2 or 3 minutes is still real practice.
Many learners wait until they have 30 minutes free, and because they never find that time, they never begin.
But 2 minutes today is much better than 30 minutes that never happen.
Small conversations help your brain become familiar with speaking English naturally.
They also teach you that making mistakes is part of learning.
Sarah, do you remember the first time you ordered food in English?
I do, and I remember feeling much more nervous than I expected.
What happened?
I practiced the sentence in my head many times before I reached the counter.
That sounds familiar.
I repeated it again and again because I wanted every word to be perfect.
And did everything go according to your plan?
Not exactly. The person asked me one unexpected question.
Oh no, what did you do?
For about 2 seconds, my brain completely stopped working. I just smiled because I could not think of an answer.
I think many listeners have experienced that exact moment.
Then I simply said, "Sorry, could you say that again?"
That is one of the most useful English expressions anyone can learn.
Yes, because it gives you a little more time to think.
It also shows that you want to understand the conversation.
The interesting part is that after the person repeated the question, I understood it immediately.
Sometimes we only need one extra moment.
Exactly. We often think we must answer instantly.
But real conversations do not always move that quickly.
Native speakers also ask people to repeat things.
They also forget words from time to time.
They also pause while they're thinking.
So you should never believe that pauses mean you're bad at English.
A short pause simply means your brain is choosing the right words.
and that is completely normal.
Another helpful habit is learning useful sentences instead of only individual words.
That makes speaking much smoother.
For example, instead of memorizing only the word opinion, you can learn the whole sentence, in my opinion.
Or, instead of only learning the word think, you can practice saying, I think that's a good idea.
These complete expressions become ready to use in real conversations.
Your brain does not have to build every sentence from the beginning.
It already has a useful pattern.
That saves both time and mental energy.
Mike, what is one sentence you think every English learner should know?
I would choose, I'm not sure, but I think,
Why that one?
because it removes pressure.
How does it do that?
It tells the listener that you are sharing an idea, not claiming to know everything.
That is true. It gives you permission to speak even when you're uncertain.
Another useful sentence is, let me think for a second.
I like that one too.
It sounds natural, and it gives you time without creating an awkward silence.
Sometimes learners become afraid because they compare themselves with people who speak much better English.
Comparison can quietly steal your confidence.
Imagine someone who has studied English for 10 years.
Then imagine someone who has studied for only 1 year.
Their English will probably sound very different.
But that does not mean the second learner is failing.
It simply means they're at a different point in their journey.
The best comparison is with your past self.
Ask yourself, can I say more today than I could 6 months ago?
Do I understand more English than I used to?
Am I a little less nervous than before?
If the answer is yes, then you are making progress.
Progress is often quiet.
It does not always feel exciting.
Sometimes you improve without even noticing it.
Until one day you suddenly understand an entire conversation.
Or you answer a question without translating every word.
Those moments remind you that your practice is working.
Another reason people feel afraid is because they expect themselves to sound perfect immediately.
That expectation creates unnecessary pressure.
Imagine learning to play the piano.
Nobody expects to perform a beautiful concert after 1 week.
But many learners expect perfect English after only a short time.
Language learning needs patience.
Every conversation is another lesson.
Every mistake teaches you something valuable.
Instead of asking, did I make mistakes?
Try asking, what did I learn today?
That small change creates a healthier mindset.
Your attention moves from failure to improvement.
Let's also talk about body language.
Many people forget that confidence is not only about words.
Standing or sitting comfortably can help you feel calmer.
Looking at the other person instead of looking down can also help.
Even smiling a little changes the feeling of a conversation.
Smiles make communication warmer.
They also remind you that conversations are between people, not between grammar books.
I really like that thought.
Me too.
One more idea is to celebrate small victories.
That is something many learners forget to do.
If you asked one question in English today, celebrate it.
If you introduced yourself confidently, celebrate it.
If you spoke for 1 minute without giving up, celebrate it.
Small victories slowly become bigger victories.
Confidence grows from collecting these small moments again and again.
It does not appear all at once.
It grows quietly through regular practice, honest effort, and the courage to keep speaking even when you still feel a little afraid.
As we come toward the end of our conversation today, we want to remind you of something very important.
Speaking English without fear does not mean you never feel nervous.
It means you choose to speak, even when that nervous feeling is still there.
Every confident English speaker you admire started as a beginner.
They also forgot words.
They also made grammar mistakes.
They also mispronounced words from time to time.
The difference is that they kept going.
They understood that mistakes are not signs of failure.
They are signs that you are using the language in real life.
Let's imagine two learners.
The first learner studies grammar for years but never speaks because they want everything to be perfect.
The second learner knows less grammar, but they practice speaking every week.
They make mistakes, they laugh, they learn, and they continue.
After 1 year, who do you think feels more comfortable speaking English?
Usually the second learner,
Not because they are naturally more talented.
but because they gave themselves permission to practice.
Practice creates experience,
Experience creates confidence.
and confidence creates even more opportunities to practice.
It becomes a positive cycle.
Mike, if one of our listeners asked you for only one piece of advice, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to stop waiting for the perfect moment.
Why is that so important?
Because the perfect moment usually never arrives.
That is true.
We often think, I'll speak English when I know more words.
Or, I'll speak English when my grammar is better.
Or even, I'll start next month.
But confidence grows through action, not through waiting.
What about you, Sarah?
My advice would be to speak kindly to yourself.
I like that.
Sometimes we say things to ourselves that we would never say to a friend.
Such as,
My English is terrible.
I'll never become fluent.
Everyone speaks better than me.
Those thoughts feel real, but they are not always true.
Imagine if your best friend was learning English.
Would you tell them to give up after making one mistake?
Of course not.
You would probably encourage them.
You would remind them how much they have already learned.
So why not give yourself that same kindness?
Learning becomes much easier when you stop fighting yourself.
Another helpful habit is noticing your improvements.
They may seem small, but they matter.
Maybe last year you were afraid to introduce yourself.
Today, you can introduce yourself and ask a few simple questions.
That is real progress.
Maybe you can now watch English videos without subtitles for a few minutes.
Or perhaps you understand this podcast much better than you understood similar podcasts 6 months ago.
Every improvement deserves your attention.
Because success is built for many small improvements.
Let's review some useful vocabulary from today's episode.
The first word is confidence.
Confidence means believing that you can do something, even if you are not perfect.
For example, she speaks with more confidence than last year.
Another useful word is nervous.
Nervous means feeling worried or excited before something important.
You can say, I felt nervous before speaking English.
The next word is mistake.
A mistake is something that is not correct.
Everyone makes mistakes while learning.
We also used the word progress.
Progress means moving forward and becoming better over time.
Another important word is practice.
Practice means doing something regularly so you can improve.
We also talked about patience.
Patience means staying calm while something takes time.
Language learning always needs patience.
Finally, we mentioned courage.
Courage is choosing to act even when you feel afraid.
Courage does not mean fear disappears.
It means fear does not control your actions.
Before we finish, we'd like to give you one small speaking challenge.
Today, try speaking English for just 5 minutes.
You can speak to yourself while making breakfast.
You can describe what you see while walking outside.
You can tell yourself about your plans for tomorrow.
You can even stand in front of a mirror and introduce yourself.
The topic is not important.
The habit is what matters.
5 minutes may seem very small.
But 5 minutes every day becomes hours of speaking practice over time.
And one day you will notice something surprising.
You will begin speaking before fear has a chance to stop you.
That is how confidence quietly grows.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love to hear from you.
Write a comment and tell us, I'm your name from your country, and one thing I will do this week to speak English without fear is...
Your comment can inspire other learners who are on the same journey.
We truly enjoy reading your stories, your goals, and your progress.
Thank you for spending this time with us today.
Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember that every sentence you speak makes you a little stronger.
You don't need perfect English to have meaningful conversations.
You only need the courage to begin. Thank you for listening. Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode of Talk Sara English.